Hey everyone, Purge here, about to give you the lowdown on Enhancements in City of Heroes. Enhancements are what you use to make various aspects of your powers more powerful. Enhancements range from buffing accuracy, damage, defense, endurance reduction, jump speed, basically every aspect you can think of. You can only slot enhancements into a power that has aspects of that power. For example, a damage dealing ability that doesn't immobilize can't slot an immobilize improvement. But if that damage ability also does lower defense, you can slot in defense reduction enhancements. From the start of the game, you'll start dropping simple enhancements in combat, which you can slot into your powers. You can slot enhancements that are up to 3 levels higher than your character, where the values are strongest, but once they get 4 levels lower than you, they stop giving your powers benefits. In the original game design, this is where the type of hero that you were mattered. Remember this choice, how you got your powers? Was it technology, magic, mutation, natural, or science? This affects what type of dual origin and single origin enhancements that you can slot into your character. But now these are garbage, and they're a relic of the past. You sell these for money, and that's because it's not fun to have to purchase new enhancements every 6 levels. So now what we purchase is Invention Origin Enhancements. Invention Origin, or IO enhancements, don't decay as you level up past the level like regular enhancements did. So once you buy and slot them, they're fine to just leave there until you buy Strong Forever sets at the end of the game. IO enhancements have weak percentage benefits at lower levels, like under level 25, so you don't really want to buy them before that. So what I do is I play 4 Death from Below or DFB runs. Those award you bonuses to accuracy, damage, defense, and endurance until you hit level 22. This allows you to level up to 22 without purchasing or slotting any enhancements. And once you hit 22, you can now slot level 25 IO enhancements into your powers. So what you do next is look at your enhancement screen and calculate how many of each enhancement you want to buy and craft. To purchase the recipes you need, find a crafting table. It looks like this. You can find them in most supergroup bases. There's an easy to find one just inside Rikti Warzone once you zone in. Or you can go to a university like in Steel Canyon. Once you find the recipes that you want, buy them all, then you open the auction house with /AH, then purchase the salvage that you need on the auction house. Return to the crafting table and craft them all. It'll cost you between 2 and 4 million influence to craft your full set at level 22. When deciding what to craft, the most a power can be enhanced is around 100% increase of a basic stat, though some categories like defense and resistance plateau around 50%. And because a level 25 IO is a 32% bonus to a power, that means you should max out on 3 for the ability that you want to enhance. For damage dealing powers, that means 3 damage, and for accuracy, you'll want 2 accuracy to make a power reliably hit 95% of the time. You can get away with 1 accuracy if your teammates have enough tactics buffs, but you'll be struggling against higher level mobs, and you can't always rely on your teammates to have these buffs. For heals or defense powers, it really helps to slot 3 healing or defense, but for abilities that are on a cooldown, sometimes some recharge reduction is more helpful. You could slot 2 healing and 1 recharge, for example, to use the ability more often. Now, it's important to know the values that your abilities provide so you know which slots are most important. If you open your enhancement screen and click one column into the Show Detailed Info here, you can see what the values for your abilities are. If I can identify that Energy Absorption, an ability that gives me defense and endurance recovery, only increases my defense by 3.38% per enemy and 0.19% for additional enemies, it's clear that the power is much better at filling my endurance than my defense. For that reason, I want to slot it with recharge time reduction instead of defense. If I compare it to my Frozen Armor, which gives me 12.75% defense, that ability is much better at slotting with defense because the base number is high, which makes the enhancing more valuable. For toggle powers, keep an eye on which ones are endurance hogs. AoE damage auras like icicles burn a massive 0.52 endurance per second. Tactics powers are also big hogs at 0.39 endurance per second, so you'll likely want to slot some endurance reducers. Some powers, especially AoE damage dealing abilities, have really high endurance costs. Rather than slotting 2 accuracy or 3 damage, you might want to consider throwing in an endurance reduction instead, or slotting it to 6. But this brings me to the most important slots that every build should have, which is slotting stamina. Stamina is your best source to increase your endurance recovery, and you should slot at least 2 endurance modifications in it. To make it easier on you, just slot 3 while you're leveling up to 50, then respec later. And that's because level 50 IO enhancements give you a whopping 42.4% of the enhancement ability. Remember, level 25 IOs only give you 32%. So 3 level 25 IOs give you a total of 92.2% of a power, and 2 level 50 IOs give you 83.3%. So you can late game use just 2 precious enhancement slots to get most of the value in stamina. I wouldn't necessarily want to sacrifice my damage skill by having them only do 83% enhancement, but for something like endurance modification, that's one way that I can save slots in my build. And why are saving slots valuable? Well, that's because of enhancement sets, of course, and this is where this video ends and the next one begins, because we've covered the basics of enhancements, and now we have to dive deep into enhancement sets, which is where we start to min-max out builds. Join me in the next video to get all the details that you need about enhancement sets.